Hi friends, welcome to a Lovely Yarn podcast. My name is Amber. Thank you so much for joining me for today's podcast episode. I wasn't sure if I should post today or not because I don't have a ton of new knitting content, but I just have missed sitting down and talking in a regular episode. I've been posting some like special episodes where I'm doing pattern roundups, and I've kind of just missed the organic sit down and chat and show you what I'm working on. And I also have been thinking a lot about the future of this channel, and so I'm looking for input, and I wanted to chat with you all about that as well. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really want to make this video a low edit video so that I can get it out. I have a very busy day today. I wanted to try to just not fly through it, but film through it without stopping. But I will say I'm going to probably have to take at least one break because I have my loaf of sourdough baking right now in the oven. It's on its second bake. If you're a sourdough maker, perhaps you understand what I mean by that. I'm having a friend over this afternoon, and so I'm making a loaf of bread, which I won't be able to eat, but she can eat it, and then I'm making some egg salad to go with it. So I do have a busy day. It's November 12th here. Everywhere it's November 12th while I'm filming this. Let me put it that way. So yes, today is Tuesday, November 12th, and it's still morning, but it's like 10:30, and my friend's coming over around lunchtime. So, but I guess I should tell you all what I'm wearing to begin with. This is my Dra Sweater. I think it's probably one of my favorite patterns I've knit so far. It is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass. I've actually made two of these, two identical, just two different sizes, because the first Dra that I made for my daughter, and then I loved it so much that I had to make one for myself. Let me just kind of, so I don't want to have to do a separate video. So let me just get up a little bit, and you can see it has the color work along the bottom hem as well as along the sleeves. I knit this in Drops Air. This is a charcoal color, and I will put that information down below like I do with all of my all the patterns I talk about. That's all listed in the description box. But it's a charcoal color, and then this is a light gray. It looks white, but it's not. It's a light gray color. So yeah, one of my favorite patterns, and I think that this pattern is perfect for the Drops Air. The Drops Air, if you're not familiar with it, it is more of like a blown yarn. So I can't remember the exact content, but I'm pretty sure it's like a wool and then an alpaca mix, and it's blown into a polyamide cord. And I mean, but you can't tell that once it's knitted up. But yeah, it's a good yarn in my opinion, because it's extremely affordable, which is important to me. And I don't know, it wears really well. I mean, I do have some pilling. Like, look, I just pulled some stuff up here. I haven't depilled this actually. I don't know that I've ever depilled this sweater, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good for that amount of pilling. But anyway, highly recommend this pattern. Has a rolled neckline. I think most of her patterns actually have the rolled neckline. And it also, let me see what else. Anything else? The rolled neckline? No, I think that's it. But good pattern. And I would say it would be a good first colorwork pattern as well. And then I want to show you my earrings. Can you see those? They're little, let me see. They're little polymer clay pumpkins. These earrings are from a local maker. Her name is Sam, short for Samantha, and her business name is Sam Jam Creative. I have a lot of her earrings. These are just studs. This was actually a 3-pack. It came with these pumpkins, and then I think 2 other ones that were leaves, like little leaves. And I've been wearing at least a pair, like I've been wearing some variation of these throughout the fall because they're just really cute. She also makes the bigger earrings, and that's actually what I prefer. I prefer to wear bigger earrings. And so I have several of those as well, but I'm almost positive that she has an online shop. I buy her stuff locally because she has a brick and mortar shop with another woman in a town that's close to me. And then she also comes to events in our town, like craft events and stuff. So I always buy mine locally, but I'm pretty positive she has an online shop. So I will link that down below. Let me make note of that in my notebook because there's a good chance I will forget. Okay, so what I want to talk about first, actually, let's go through the knitting first, and then I want to talk about the future of my channel and get some input from you guys. But let's do the knitting first because not all of you may want to listen to me chat. So I'm going to show you the biggest project that I'm working on right now. I've talked about this one in the last episode, like the last regular episode that I filmed. This is the Dra Sweater. It is a pattern by Claudia Quintanilla from this book, Memory Lane, which, if you remember correctly in the past, I was gifted this book from Unit Toronto. This is a newly released book. It's got a lot of really embellished, detailed knitting projects. It uses a lot of mohair held double. So definitely more fine, refined, let me put it that way, knitting. You can go back to my last, actually, I'll try to remember, if you want like a full review of the book, I will link it right up here, that video. I think I can figure out how to do that. But I'm having a little bit of heartache with this sweater, and I got on Ravelry to see other people, and it said there were 9 projects, but I'm pretty sure only one actually came up with a photo and like any kind of documentation. And it was Bobby from Knitter's Niche. That's another podcast. I'm sure she's got a pretty big channel, so I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with her. But I know she had knitted this as well. And I think the last time I saw any updates from her about this, she had one arm completely knitted. Now the sleeve is where I'm running into all of my problems. The body was a piece of cake. It's beautiful. This is yarn it's a one-of-a-kind fingering weight yarn from my friend Jody of Flower Hill Fleeces, who I talk about all the time. And it's this right here. And it is held double with a drops kid silk. This is you can see it's a bit brighter, so it's making this beautiful, I love this color. But over the last week, once I had the body finished, which I finished the body about a week ago, I've had nothing but problems with this sweater. I don't know if I don't know what's going on. I have ripped this sleeve out so many times. The first time I ripped it out, I realized that I had been reading something wrong, and so that was totally my fault. So I was all excited. I thought, okay, now I know where I went wrong. So I casted it on. I picked up stitches for the sleeve and casted it on again, and I ripped it out multiple more times. Then I was like, I'm just gonna wear it as a vest because it would work as a vest. It really would. It's actually the perfect shape for a vest. So I told my daughter Lily, I'm like, I cannot knit on, the sleeve of this pattern is driving me nuts. I cannot do it anymore. So I'm just wearing this as a vest, and I have one shirt in my closet that I found, like a button down shirt that I thought would look good with this over, and it's just like a plain denim shirt. So I put that on, tried it on for her, and she's like, yeah, that looks really cute. But I was not happy with that. I am definitely one of those people who cannot stand to give up just because something's hard. I want to like conquer it. And also practically, I was thinking, I only have one shirt to wear this over that I think looks nice. I looked through my dresses. No, because this color blue does not go with, this color blue looks good on me because I have blue eyes. So it brings out my blue eyes, but it does not pair well with the majority of my clothing that I have, in my opinion. Somebody else might be able to look through my closet and be like, oh yeah, that would look cute over this or over that. But for me and what I would choose to wear, it just wasn't happening. And I just got to the point where I thought, no, I am not throwing the white flag on this yet. So I picked up stitches again. Basically now what I'm doing, I have not figured out what I'm doing wrong. I'm like pretty sure it's me. Something's not clicking between the pattern and my head. I know that I could contact the designer, but I honestly don't care that much. I don't want to, this sounds stupid, but I don't really want to take the time to do that. My plan for this sweater was to wear it to my husband's Christmas party with a skirt that I have, and his Christmas party is December 13th. So I thought I'm either going to rip it out. I did think about ripping the whole sweater out, because when I first got this yarn, my plan for it was to do a ranunculus, because I love that pattern so much, and I thought this would make a beautiful ranunculus. So that thought did run through my mind last week, but then I was like, oh, this is so much knitting. Let's just try to make this work. So basically I'm fudging my way through the sleeve. And the problem that I'm having is, do you see this lace? So you've got all these short rows up here for the shoulder cap, and something's happening to me when I'm doing the short rows that's completely messing me up, because I'm doing short rows and I'm trying to put the lace chart in, and I don't know what's happening. It almost seemed to me, and again, this is probably just me, I really think there's something not clicking, but it just seemed to me like there was some information missing, and my brain was just not, I don't know. So I am basically just putting these little lace sections in. I'm just trying to space them out as much as possible. They're definitely not spaced like correctly, like the pattern would call for. Some of them aren't equally, like the distance between each of them is not correct. It's not the same. But I'm just to the point where I'm like, nobody's going to be able to tell that. Especially since most people I interact with in my day-to-day life do not knit. Like the majority do not knit. So they're not going to know. So this is not me complaining about the pattern or saying it's a bad pattern. It's simply me saying that sometimes even people who have, I guess I want to say as more of an encouragement, even people who have been knitting for years, as I have been, sometimes you just hit a wall with a pattern. And I am pretty sure that somebody could explain it to me and then the light bulb would go off. But it's not happening on its own. So I am just improvising through the sleeve, and then and it's taking a really long time. The sleeve is done with the mohair hill double. And I've also learned through this process that I do not care for knitting lots and lots of mohair hill double. So I have done, I did a shawl. I might have done multiple like smaller projects that you hold mohair double through portions of the project, but I've never done a project where I have held it double for so much knitting, and I don't like it because it sticks. I sometimes will miss one of the strands because they're so fine. So this has also been good because now I know that I do not want to knit the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. That's I'm pretty sure that is one that you hold 2 strands of mohair the whole way through. I thought maybe I'd want to knit that, but after this project, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to stay away from that project. So it's good. You know, everything, even our failures, and I'm not counting this as a failure. I am persevering through this sweater. It is going to get done, and it's going to look decent. Nobody's going to really be able to tell, and if they do, I don't even care, because I mean, looking at it on camera, it looks fine. It's just me knowing that it's a lot more work because I have to space things and it's not matching. they're not matching exactly. So part of the perfectionist part of me is very upset with myself for not ripping out again and again and again until I finally figure it out. But the part of me that's more realistic and loving towards myself is saying it's okay. So that is my update on this. It's gonna be a nice sweater once I'm done. But it's been giving me some heartache, friends. It's okay though. I think a lot of knitters, I mean, I remember watching Sarah from It's a Sarah podcast over the summer. I think it was over the summer, and she had a pattern that she just could not get to jive. And so watching other knitters express that and share that is encouraging to me, because I'm like, it's okay. Something's not clicking, but it's all right. I'm just going to make the best of that. Now, as far as the rest of my knitting projects, they are my current active knitting projects. They're all socks. I've cast on a new pair. I'm going to show you progress on the other ones that I did. Wait, hold on. Okay, here we go. So let's start with this new pair, because I'm loving this yarn. This yarn is fun. This is a self-striping yarn that I'm using. Oh, goodness gracious. PK Yarn is the brand. Link it down below. And the dyer's name is Pamela Kirschman. She was new to me. I had never heard of her before. I was looking for a yarn to knit a pair of socks for my daughter's boyfriend. So he has been excited. Basically, I knit socks for my children's significant others, but they have to be around for a while before that happens. I have to know that they're at least pretty much committed. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they were with for instance, last Christmas, my daughter had been with her boyfriend for September, October, November, December, 4 months. And it wasn't even a question there. There was no way I was knitting socks for him. But now by the time Christmas rolls around, it'll be a year and 4 months. So it's a pretty committed relationship. They're both 18. And I am going to knit him a pair of socks. So for Christmas this year. So I got onto Etsy and I just searched self-striping yarn. I had an idea of colors just because from being around him, and then I was asking Lily, and we went through a lot of different listings on Etsy, and then I found this one, and that is how I found this yarn dyer. Did I tell you it's 75/25 superwash merino and nylon? And this color is called Rim Trail in Winter. I don't know if she still has it on her Etsy site. I'll list her Etsy shop down below though. So let me show you what I have. So this is what I have so far on the first sock. I'm knitting this on size size US 0 needles. These are 9-inch circulars, Chalgu. This is how I knit my socks. I realize that a size US 0 is very small, but I know a lot of hold on, I'm trying to see what 2 millimeters. Okay, so it's 2 millimeters if you're not familiar with US terms. A lot of sock patterns tell you to use like a US 1, but I find that using a 0 gives me a tighter gauge, which I feel personally helps with the durability of the sock. So I almost always knit on a US 0 for my socks. And I still have like a lot of stretch, so it's going to be good. I cast on 68 stitches. Yeah, because I needed a multiple of 4 for the 2x2 ribbing at the top. This yarn, it was just a little mini I had, but I'm pretty sure it's also from Flower Hill Fleeces. So yeah, but it wasn't marked, but I'm pretty sure it was one of her mini skeins that I bought at some point in time. And I'm rolling along here. Now, okay, maybe you guys could help me out with this, because I always knit a heel flap and gusset. It fits really well. that's how I knit all of my socks that I keep for myself, as well as the ones that I gift. I have never done any other type of heel. Where my hang up is I'm loving these stripes, and I'm afraid if I put in, and I'm going to do an alternate, like a contrast color, but I'm afraid if I put in a heel flap and do a heel flap and gusset, it's going to mess up the width of these stripes. And that's kind of bothering me a little bit. Normally it doesn't, but for some reason with this pair of socks it is. So then yesterday I got on YouTube and I was looking at videos for the Afterthought heel, and there's variations of it. But then I was looking at what it looked like when it wasn't on a foot, and I thought, is that going to fit a foot well? Is it going to want to slouch down and go, like, move under the foot? Because a heel flap, well, I can show you, I have with these pair of socks, like, it's so sturdy. It's so sturdy. It holds everything in place. Could you please chime in? I'm going to be asking you guys for a lot of input on this video. So could you please chime in and let me know if there is a sock heel that you like for self-striping yarn that doesn't break up the patterning or the width of the stripes, but yet it fits your foot really well. I really want to know this, because if I don't get a good suggestion, like if I don't get a suggestion from people, I just don't want to do it without knowing for sure, because I don't want to give Noah these socks and then them not fit well. It's kind of like I wish I would have tried an Afterthought heel on a pair of socks that I've knit for myself before I put them in on a pair of socks I'm gifting to somebody. Please let me know if you have any insight into that. My next pair of socks is also a gift knit. I don't know how much I should say. This is for another person, okay? I've mentioned these in the past, so I'm not going to say anything more, but I have the first one done except to graft the toe shut, and I'm going to do that. I just finished these up in the car and I didn't feel like taking the time to, maybe I just didn't have my needle with me to do that. And then I have the second one going. So this is a Drops Fabel yarn. I've talked about these socks before. This is actually the second pair of socks I've made in this yarn, so I'll just link all that down below. And this one I think I cast on 60 stitches on a US 0, because this is for a female. So yeah, that's that pair. And then my last pair of socks I have, I'm knitting with this beautiful yarn. Do I even have the, oh no, it's a Busy Life yarn. Something about fall. Hold on, let me see if I can flip back to my past episode notes, because I hate when I don't get things right when it has to do with people's products or names. Okay, this yarn is from A Busy Life and it is called I Love Fall. It's on a tweed base. I don't know that she still dyes yarn. I think she still has her Etsy shop up, but I will look that up and post it below. This pattern is called Intertwined Socks. It is a pattern from Inga of Drinni Handworks, and it is perfect. And she actually sent me that pattern for free after I showed this yarn. The previous episode I had shown this yarn and I said that I've had this for a long time and I wanted to cast on a pair of socks to use it this fall, but I was trying to figure out what pattern I wanted to use for it. And she had very generously sent me that pattern. That pattern, you should check it out. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful texture. It's not hard either. Like, I have it memorized. I haven't had to look at the pattern since like the very start. So it's an easy pattern, just very effective in what it does to your yarn and how beautiful it makes it look. Yeah, so I'll link that pattern down below as well. And I'm knitting. This is oh my goodness. Do I have that written down? You can tell this was kind of like a last minute idea to film this podcast. So I do not have it written down what this is, but I will try to put it down below if I can find it. It was a small mini that I had gotten from my Row 1 yarn subscription last year, I think. Oh, there we go. So it's really pretty. And I do not have enough of that because they're 10 gram minis. When you do the Row 1 subscriptions, you get 10 gram minis. And so I didn't have enough to do both socks, the cuff, heel, and toe. So I'm just doing the cuff and the toe. And I just need to go a couple more rounds and then I'll be ready to start the toe, and then I'll cast on my second one. And hopefully I will have, I don't know, it's starting to get questionable. I thought, oh yay, I'll make these for Thanksgiving. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's November 12th. Why is time going so much faster than normal? I have no idea. I don't know if they'll get done. I don't know. I'm doing I did the 64 stitch cast on. I don't have the pattern right in front of me. It's on my phone and I'm filming on my phone, but I can't remember how many sizes that pattern includes, or maybe if it must include several different sizes because I wrote in my notes from the last episode that I'm doing the 64 stitch count. Okay, now I've talked about all the knitting that I wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead, and I want to announce the winner from the cardigan episode that I put up. Was that last month? Sometime in October. So I think there were 603 comments for that episode. So I used pickawinner.com. It's just a random free website that picks a random comment off of YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to put the winner here, put the name up here. I already picked it, took a screenshot, and it's just easier for me to place it here. So I believe your name is Allison. So Allison, when you see this, I need you to contact me. I have my email, alovelyarn@gmail.com. I have that listed down below. If you could please send me an email, and then I will get your choice of pattern sent out to you on Ravelry. And thank you everyone who watched and commented on that. That was, I love doing all those themed videos. Well, you can check out the cardigan one if you haven't already seen it. But I just put up last week, I put 60 free patterns that would be great for gift knitting. That one was a lot of fun to do, and that was a lot to talk about in one episode. It ended up being like a minute over an hour long. So I'm sorry about that for people who don't like long videos, but you know, you don't have to watch the whole way through. And I always provide like a Ravelry bundle link. Oh, and that reminds me, for those of you who do not have Ravelry accounts, I'm trying to figure out how to make those patterns accessible to you. I've had a couple of viewers say that if the patterns are all listed out as individual links to Ravelry, then they can view those. But if it's listed as a bundle, they can't view those. So I don't know why that would be. I believe them. I'm just saying I don't know why that would be. When it's something like 60 patterns, it would take me a really long time to list out each individual link in the description box. So I don't think I'm gonna have the time to do that. But if it's an episode like the cardigan one where I just talked about 15 cardigans, that would be more doable for me to be able to list the individual link and then also the bundle. Because for me, it's when I watch episodes like that, it's easier for me just to click to the bundle, and then I can just find the one that I am interested in the bundle, or I can look at all of them in one place as kind of like looking like a summary. But I want all of you to be able to access things, but there may be limits that Ravelry has imposed that are beyond my control. So I just wanted to say I'm looking into if there's any possible way for me to correct that. I don't know. If any of you do know, then let me know. Okay, so do I want to talk about anything else before? Oh, a couple podcast channels that I am, just two actually, that I am enjoying right now. Ina Knits. I love her podcast. I love it so much. I really like podcasts from content creators who live in like the Scandinavian countries, especially this time of year, because sometimes I can get a bit like frustrated with the lack of sunlight, the shorter days. You know, I think a lot of people are like that. I've dealt with seasonal affective disorder. I think pretty much my entire life, although I didn't know that when I was younger. I didn't know to identify it as that. So I like to watch these videos from people who are from Scandinavian countries, knitting and just lifestyle videos, because they kind of help to put things in perspective, because it's so much worse for them as far as the length of their days. The length of their days are so much shorter during the winter months because they are farther north than me here in Pennsylvania. And it just is so helpful to me, and it really like gives me a little kick in the butt to not complain in my mind about the short days and all of that, just to try to embrace them. And so right now, Ina Knits is doing her November, I think it's like month of Hygge, and she did it at least last year, maybe the year before, I don't remember, but I really enjoy it. And she does this in November because where she lives, it is apparently rainy, not much sun, and then of course this is when the days start to get much shorter in the nights. The periods of daylight start to get much shorter. So she decided that she was going to make these videos to kind of help herself to focus on the good things in life and the coziness of the month of November. November's never been the worst month for me. It's kind of like November is my birthday month. It is the month of Thanksgiving here in the United States, which is my favorite holiday because I have very nostalgic memories of very special Thanksgiving dinners in my grandparents' farmhouse when all the family would come back every year as I was growing up in my childhood. And so my grandmother made Thanksgiving so special. So it's just my favorite holiday, followed by Christmas. So November's always felt like a kickoff to the holidays with, you know, Thanksgiving and then Christmas. And I don't really struggle as much in November as I do in January, February. And then March, I'm like, oh, spring's coming soon. Yay, it's coming back. So, but I do struggle a bit with the shorter days. Like last night, I was so tired. I was like, it's time for bed. I looked at the clock. It was like 5:52. 5:52, and I'm ready for bed. It gets dark here at 5 o'clock. And when it gets dark, my body tells me, okay, time for bed. And then I basically find myself having to mentally fight to stay awake for the next 3 to 4 hours. And I'm really working hard on that. And I have been over the last multiple years to have a different perspective on it, a new perspective on it. And I think I do pretty well. I mean, there are some years that I've struggled more than others. This year, so far, it's going okay. But I like to watch videos like Ina's where it's just she just points you to cozy, to embrace the coziness of the shorter daylight and just look for the things that you can control, because we cannot control the amount of sun we get. We can't control the weather. And so I was really excited to see that her first video went up. I don't know if it was over the weekend. I just watched it yesterday. So go check Ina out. I've watched her for years, and she is one of my favorite podcasters. One that I get super excited about when she posts, which she doesn't post as frequently anymore, which makes me sad, but at the same time, I totally understand, because as a podcaster, I know the energy it takes and the time and all that. But I do get super excited when she puts up a new video. The next podcast channel that I want to talk to you about is a very interesting one to me. I've been watching her for several months. I think she came up as a recommendation in my YouTube feed over the summer. Her name is, I think it's pronounced, it's spelled Moran. I watched back through several of her videos hoping I would hear her say her name, and I could not find that in any of them, and then I just gave up, and I Googled how to pronounce it. And I don't know that it's correct, but Moran, which to me, as an English speaking person, that's how I would say it. But I know that my alphabet doesn't always jive with an alphabet from another language. So, but her podcast channel is called Crochet Objet Knitting. Again, I might be pronouncing that wrong too. The objet, O-B-J-E-T. She is actually a content creator from Israel, which I'm sure that a lot of you know about all of the unrest going on in Israel right now. And I'm not just talking about I'm talking about war, people dying, like really bad stuff. The fact that she is filming through that and sharing her life with us through that and still making and focusing on finding the good things in life is so absolutely amazing and fabulous to me. And I am just both astounded and also very grateful for her sharing and her insight. She's a crocheter, she's a knitter, she's a designer. I think maybe, I haven't been watching long enough to know this for certain, but I think she might crochet more than knit, although I could be wrong on that. She also talks a lot about her life and slow living and finding the good in things. So her videos are not really, they're a mixture of sitting down and talking about her projects that she's doing, and then she's also showing clips of her daily life throughout it. And she also is sharing about the unrest in her country right now. It's just amazing to me, because living where I do, and I have a son from Ukraine, so I know it's so far from perfect in our country, but other countries they have dealt with so many things over the years. So to hear Moran say about, we woke up to the sirens again this morning, it's just, and then the fact that she still shares with us and she's still looking for good in her life, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. So go check her out. She's very soothing. She's so soothing and calming. Anyway, all right. So those are the two podcasts. I like to share podcasts because, first of all, I like to show you guys what I'm watching and enjoying. And then I also really like to find new podcasts that are maybe, don't have as many followers or as many viewers, and kind of spread the love. So if you guys ever have podcast recommendations, you can always drop them down for me as well. Okay, so this last part of the episode, I want to talk about the future of my channel, A Lovely Yarn. I've been thinking about this a lot, and if you watch this today, which is November 12th, I posted a little poll several little polls over on Instagram just to get some insight from the people who follow me over there. I have a much smaller following on Instagram. I think I have maybe 3,800 followers over there. Some of them are knitters, but some of them are also just people that I know in my real life. So it's a different mixture over there. But you feel free to go over there and give me your input through the participation in those polls. I'll put a link to my Instagram account down below. That's in my stories, by the way, over on Instagram. But you can as easily leave me a comment here, because I'm going to basically tell you what I was talking about in my polls, the questions I was asking in my polls. So as a content creator here on YouTube, it's really a funny thing, because I go back and forth between, I always want to be authentic to myself. So certain brands have reached out to me about doing a collaboration with them, but if I don't feel like it fits me and my viewers and something that's going to be beneficial to my viewers, I am not going to do it. I have to be authentic to myself and my purpose here, which my purpose here is to share my love of knitting and creating with others who love knitting and creating. It's to connect with people, mostly in the comments, because this is very one way here, but when when you comment, which that's honestly gotten harder as my channel has grown. It's gotten harder for me to respond to every comment. And so I'm sorry about that. I read them and I try to at least like them. Now, when I do a special episode like that one with the cardigans and I had 603 comments, I can't respond to all of those. I can't even like all of those. They just come in so fast. I feel buried and overwhelmed by them. So those kind of episodes, unless somebody gives me a specific question and I see it right away, it's really hard for me to interact with all of those. But, so, Amber, stay on track. Stay on track, Amber. I just have so much to say to you guys today. So that's my purpose, to share my knitting and to connect with other knitters and hopefully to provide some inspiration. And I also always just want to be kind of like a light and an encourager, and something that I really strive to do a lot in my life is to try to see the good in things. And so I hope some of that is kind of reflected in what I post here. But also, I realize that people are watching me, and so sometimes I get, and I am not, let me preface this, I am not trying to get pity or sympathy. Please don't give it, because that's not what I'm trying here. I'm just saying the reality of having a YouTube channel, especially as it grows, means that you are open to other people's opinions and sometimes criticisms. I would say the majority of of the reactions I get to my videos are very encouraging, kind, full of love and uplifting to me, and they just spur me on to want to continue to post. But then sometimes I will get nasty comments. Often, unless I have actually completely deleted some comments that they've been so nasty that I'm like, I do not want that nastiness living in my comment section for my viewers to have to see by chance. Like, so I will delete those kind of comments. If it's just like more of an opinion or something that could be a bit critical, sometimes I'll just leave those up because everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I realize that not all of you who watch are going to like what I have to post, and I'm okay. I'm finally okay with that. When I remember my very first negative comment was years ago. I think I've been doing this since 2018. Somebody told me my eyebrows were too dark. And I don't know why that bothered me so much, because now I'm like, okay, well, then don't watch me if it bothers you that my eyebrows are so dark. And that wasn't even that nasty. That was more like what is the point of your comment? It has no good value to it at all. So, but like I said, most of the time, it is just weird when you're putting yourself out there, because you do want to please your audience, but at the same time, you want to stay true to yourself and not do things. For me personally, I don't want to be posting stuff that has like clickbait and things like that just to get people to watch my episodes. I really love that I have people that come here for episode after episode because they like to hear what I have to say and they want to spend time with me while they knit or whatever they're doing as they watch. Like, I love that. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot. So because I want to stay true to myself, yet also put out content that you guys enjoy, I have a few questions for you. So, first one, do you prefer shorter episodes, like under 30 minutes, or does the length not matter to you? And these are all questions I had on my poll on Instagram. So, you can just, if you want to participate, drop it in the comments below. Do you prefer regular episodes like this where I sit down and talk about my knitting. Now this is very chatty. I'm typically not this chatty. Typically I sit down, talk about my knitting, and maybe say a little bit at the end and then I'm gone. But this one's definitely more chatty because I was kind of low on the knitting and I had a lot of stuff to say. But do you prefer a regular episode where I just basically talk about my knitting? Do you like vlogs? Do you like to see a channel that does a mixture of vlogs and regular episodes? Do you watch both of them? Or do you like channels that have actually the episode has a mixture of both? Okay, so like Lorenz of Crocheting Objet Knitting, she has her knitting and crocheting talk mixed in with her daily living clips. Also, is there a preference for you as far as day of the week that I post? I don't mean a specific day, but rather I mean, does it matter do you prefer that I would post my videos, let's say, every Monday or every Wednesday? Or does that not matter at all to you? Like for me, with my channel, the channels I watch, I know several, like Sarah from It Is a Sarah, she posts every Monday. And then she posts, I belong to her membership channel, so she posts on Friday for her membership channel. So I know she's going to have videos on those days. And then Yana from Finished Knitting Stories, she posts pretty consistently on the weekend days, I know. But then there's a lot of podcasters that just, including me, who we literally just post whenever we feel inspired to film a video, and so it could be any day of the week. Does that matter to you? Let's see, was there anything else? I don't know that there's anything else. I did want to say also that, and I've asked this question in the past, but if you have any ideas for content for special videos that you would want to see, if you want to let me know down below. I can't promise that I'll do them, but I'm really interested in hearing what my viewers want to see. Or if you have any questions for me, whether or not I answer those questions will be based upon how comfortable I feel with how personal they are, but you can always post them down below. And then I think that might be all as far as the future of my channel and my questions for you all. So thank you for listening if you're still here. And the last thing I want to talk about is Vlogmas. I have been doing Vlogmas. Have I done it 3 years? Was last year my 3rd year? I think so. And last year was a flop because I got sick with something in November and I was sick until January. Last winter was really rough on me. And then I got diagnosed with that valve defect of my heart. Like it was just a really rough winter last year. So I am like putting that behind me. Just gonna put it behind me. And I'm trying to look forward with excitement. And so I'm planning on doing Vlogmas. Because I got sick last year, I think it was November, or maybe I got sick during Vlogmas. I can't remember. But because I got sick, I only posted for, I don't know, a week maybe a little over a week. And then I just didn't have the energy to continue because it is a lot of work to film all day long and then edit. But I'm planning on doing that this year. And those will be like more daily life. To be honest with you, I hardly knit in December when I do Vlogmas because I'm so busy filming Vlogmas and editing. So that will it'll be knitting, but it's not going to be knitting prolific. I am throwing around the idea of picking out one Advent pattern and making myself my own Advent calendar. I've never purchased an Advent calendar on my own. I have a hard time. This is me personally. I have a really hard time spending hundreds of dollars on an Advent calendar. I want to, but I just can never pull the trigger. In fact, even this year, even last night, I was on Etsy searching for Advent calendars that, most of them are already taken up and not like they're all sold out and everything. But I thought, oh, maybe there are some, but they were like $250 to $300. I cannot pull that trigger. So I decided that I could take my mini skeins, and it's not going to be a surprise. I thought about having my daughter Lily do it, which maybe I will. I don't know. I have to decide on that. But I kind of want to have the control, because I have a couple of patterns in mind, which I'm going to be sharing soon, because I'm going to be doing a scrappy episode for people who knit with advent calendars, projects that are specifically made to use mini skeins. So because I spent a lot of time researching that, I found a couple of patterns that I'm actually really interested in. And I thought if I could just do one color or one section per day in December, that would give me something to consistently knit on, and I think that would be really fun. So I have a couple of ideas for that, but I'm thinking I might want to have the control over my yarn, although my daughter Lily is she and I are very similar as far as aesthetics and our creative eye. So I think that if I picked a pattern and showed it to her and said, hey, I want this to kind of flow one yarn into the next, kind of like a fade, I think that she would actually be really good at picking out, and then have her bag them up into little bags, and then every day in December for the first 24 days, or even 25 depending on the pattern, I will have a surprise to open up and knit into my project. That's actually sounding really fun to me and very doable, so I think I may do that. And yes, so those are my plans for December. And for Vlogmas, fingers crossed I stay healthy because, oh, a fly came in my open window. Yeah, because I do really want to take you along in my month of December. We are a simple family. We like to do festive things. We have some traditions that we do, but we do not go all out crazy as far as running here, there, and everywhere. We have a couple of Christmas parties we go to that are just basically my husband's work party, and then we have friends that have a Christmas party every year, and that's about it on that. I just don't, the month of December, I just want to like kind of treasure it and enjoy it and soak it in and not exhaust myself. So that's what I hope to share with you this year, how I do that. I think that's everything for today. It has been 52 minutes. So it's been a chatty, long one. I thank you very much for joining me. I really was looking forward to talking to you all. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys all so much. Take care, and I will see you next time.